Imagine waking up one day and your money's been working hard for you while you sleep. You're doing nothing, you're just catching some Z's, snooze, snooze, you wake up plus $1,000, plus $2,000, right? Wouldn't that be awesome? What if it did that every single day of your life? Well, I'm here to tell you how. For those of you who are new here, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff. Welcome to the Macro. This is my new channel, split off from my day trading channel, focused on long-term investing. Now, I have a pretty diverse financial background. So right now I'm very focused on day trading. I have an entire business focused on that where I day trade every single day. I also teach people how to trade and have a Discord community. If you're over here, you might be one of my traders or you could be somebody new. Definitely trying to speak to both of you. So where do you get started? Let's talk about it. You start with the stock market. So the stock market is a place where shares of publicly held companies are freely traded. That means if I want to own a piece of Apple or Ford or, you know, what's another popular company? Disney, who makes, well, I already said Apple. Look at the things around you. Like I was just glancing around trying to think of companies. Every single thing that you buy is sold by some company, most likely, right? Ford, Toyota, I think I already said Ford. The stock market is where you can buy shares of those things. And it is core to, you know, the American lifestyle, right? When you talk about people gaining wealth or generational wealth, a lot of that comes through ownership in the stock market. Capitalism and entrepreneurship is a really key American value, as a matter of fact. But the next question is, why even invest in stocks in the first place if there are things like real estate that you can invest in? The number one reason to invest in stocks is the long-term growth potential of the US economy, in my opinion. Okay, when we talk about long-term investing, there's this underlying assumption when we say it's going to generate 8 to 10% returns. That's in the US economy, S&P 500 in total, right? There's a special magic bullet that a lot of people don't talk about, but that's really what we mean, right? And the reason why that is so powerful, or the reason that we're able to do that, is due to the inherent or inherent diversification that exists when you invest in the entire economy, right? So if I invest in the S&P 500, I'm investing in the 500 biggest companies in America. And those 500 biggest companies are from tons of different verticals. I could be investing in things like social media companies like Facebook or Twitter. I might be investing in a printer company. I might be investing in a computer company like Microsoft or Apple. I might be investing in a car company like Ford or Toyota. I could be investing in soap companies, you know, health companies, shoe companies like Nike, Johnson & Johnson. Think of all these different enterprises that are out there that are these massive conglomerates. All of those make up the S&P 500, and you have diversification across all of these different types of assets. The first thing that you're gonna need to start investing is a brokerage account. Now, there are so many places where you can open a brokerage account, and I'll probably do a video just on setting up a brokerage account at some point in the near future. But what you need to know is that if there's a big bank near you like Chase, Wells Fargo, US Bank, all of these also give you the ability to open a brokerage account. And the brokerage account is a special account type where you can deposit cash into that account and then use that cash to buy into shares of a company. You can't do that out of your checking or savings account, right? So you need a special account called a brokerage account that allows you to interface with the stock market. There are also companies you've probably heard of like Robinhood, which is specifically created just as a broker, right? So they're not a bank, right? The difference between something like Robinhood or a Chase Bank is that Chase is a really big financial services enterprise, which offers services like your checking and savings accounts. They also provide mortgages. They have a brokerage service, right? They do all of these different things with money. Robinhood is really just a brokerage. There's another app called M1 Investing, or really there's a company called M1, which is also a brokerage account, right? So you ultimately need to do your research. You should sit down, open a notepad, do a bunch of research and figure out which company makes the most sense for you. But that's step one. Okay, so now you have an account. What do you do next? Now you do your homework. You need to figure out which companies and verticals make the most sense to you. Now, my advice is to jump into something like an exchange traded fund. And the very next video in this series, this beginner how to investing series, is going to be about ETFs, right? So step one is you open a brokerage account. You fund that account with a couple $100, maybe $1,000, whatever it is. Step two is now you need to actually go and figure out what is important to you. One of the simplest forms of investing advice that people put out there, and this is not official advice, just a little disclaimer, I have to do that for YouTube. But is people say buy companies that you like, right? I use Apple products every single day. It makes sense for me to own shares of Apple. People will argue like, well, you have to buy it at this price or this time or things like that. It's like, look, if I'm gonna buy Apple products my entire life, I might as well invest in Apple. It doesn't mean that I should go all in on Apple, right? The other thing that's a really good piece of advice, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is to invest in the total market. Now, if you follow the account, the series where I have my account where I invest $250 every single week, you can see that I'm buying stocks based off of what people recommend me, and the account is still growing, right? Let's actually take a look at where the account is at right now. Take a quick peek. I actually forgot to do that in this video. I'm doing it in Robinhood, right? You can see the account is at $5,251, okay? And we'll just do that again so you can get a closer look at it. And I'm just investing $250 every week, guys. Now, I'm gonna start and I'm gonna rebalance that all into, or 90% into just an ETF, an exchange traded fund. And the really powerful thing about exchange traded funds is they give you access to all these underlying stocks without you having to make that decision yourself. It's a really powerful tool. Really, the last question is, how often should I invest or when I should invest? Let's talk about it. Now, I just showed you my account, which is investing $250 every week. You might not be in the position in your life where you can do that much money. You might be in a position in your life where you can do 5 times as much, 10 times as much, right? We're all afforded different luxuries in life and we all start the race in a different position. But I can tell you, as somebody who started out with the cliche, started out broke and had to work to get to where I am to be able to do this today, it doesn't matter where you start, right? Compound interest over time is like wind in your sails, right? It is the superhero of investing. So pick a number. It could be $10 a week. It could be $10 a month. When you look back at the accumulation of your efforts, it's going to be totally worth it. I'll put up on the screen right now a graph of what it looks like to invest different amounts of money every month over a 30-year period or 40-year period. And you can see how even if you're just doing a little bit, it still adds up over time. Ask yourself, if I handed you $1,000 right now, would you be excited about it? Cool, well then do that for yourself. If I handed you $10,000 right now, would you be excited about it? Cool. If I handed you $100,000 right now, would you be excited about it? Cool, but for some reason when we say, well, it's gonna take a little bit longer than right now, people do nothing, and what happens is in 30 years, you don't have $100,000, you don't have $10,000, and you don't even have the 1,000 because you didn't do anything at all. So don't be a stickler, start, and let's make that bread. Those really are just the high notes of investing, guys. So in my next video, I will be talking about exchange traded funds, and we'll be digging into why they are so important and powerful. I also will continue to invest $250 every week. And if you're somebody who is looking to improve your financial future, definitely think about joining my Discord community over on the day trading side. I'll be starting a community just for long-term investing here pretty shortly for those of you who are interested in the macro. But again, my name is Forrest. I invest in stuff I think that everybody should too. See you in the next video. Peace.